रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
Hi, my name is George Abraham and welcome to Eyeway Conversations. My guests today are Amaan Ahmed and his mother Nosheen, who live in Muscat, Oman. Right, Amaan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Amaan Ahmed and also known as Wonder Boy Amaan. I'm 8 years old and studying in grade 3. I'm a visually challenged student studying in a traditional mainstream CBSE school.
Amaan, you said that you study in a traditional school. How do you manage to study in a traditional school being blind?
Mainly by the help of assistive technology. My mother trained me from age 4 to touch type, to use screen readers, shortcut keys, maths and computers, and also to type in Hindi. So I can blend seamlessly into the school without them having any complaints or concerns from day one.
Nosheen, when you discovered that Amaan was visually impaired, what was your initial response and where did you get guidance and help from?
There are moments that redefine a mother's life. And for me, the moment came when doctors delivered news no parent wants to hear. That my infant son, just 6 weeks old, had a severe, rare, life-threatening eye condition affecting both his eyes. And the long and devastating medical journey of Amaan, who is now 8 years, continues. And after the initial years passed, I faced new challenges, which were the educational barriers and the widely accepted approach for educating blind and low vision students involves enrollment in specialized school where students learn Braille initially and receive assistive technology training much later, typically in their teens or adulthood. So, I was looking for answers and then I just happened to meet Mr. Ram Kamal right in time when he, encouraged me to, pursue assistive technology. And I started training Amaan at the age of 4 to touch type and to use screen readers, shortcut keys, and all of those things. And I trained him, and then yes, he joined school.
I was listening to one of your motivational speeches and where you talked about your interest in mental maths. Maths normally is very difficult for people who are blind. And you mentioned that you do some preparations before you go for these mental maths sessions in school. So tell me a little bit about mental maths and your interest in mental maths and how you prepare.
First, even before I went to grade 3, I started learning division. And then I started learning multiplication and then very hard stuff like subtraction, fractions also I learned before they taught, addition also I learned before they taught, and many more things. In Maths Magic for the last 2 years, I've been coming first place with my team.
So can you quickly kind of tell me what is this magic maths?
It's kind of like a competition where they ask maths question and one of us will be writing in the whole team of 4 members. So then we discuss with each other and when we come up with an answer, for example, 3 people are saying this is correct, this is correct, this is correct, and one more person is saying altogether different number is correct. Then we do voting. So 3 people choose the same number. So then we write down that number. Or if we directly just get the answer, all of us, then we write that answer.
Yeah, I would like to add here, Maths Magic is just the name of the competition, nothing, different. It's just basic mental maths competition. So in the first round, the whole class participates. It's like inter-class competition. And the second round, the top four students from each class, they compete with each other. So from the last 2 years, he's been coming first. This year as well, he was a finalist. He has, finished his final round, but they are yet to announce the result.
Nosheen, I'd like to ask you, how come you initiated Aman into public speaking? Meaning, he started motivational speaking very early in life, and he's got a couple of YouTube videos where he's speaking and speaking rather well.
I can say that, from a very young age, I noticed a spark in Aman. He was always a quick, enthusiastic learner, curious, driven, and eager to observe everything around him. And deep down, I always wished that one day he would grow up to inspire others. But honestly, I never imagined it would happen this soon. As Aman began settling into school, he started participating in many competitions. First at the inter-class level, then inter-school level, and eventually inter-school level as well. And he wasn't just participating; he was winning. And all these, his participation in all of these different various competitions kept just grooming him more and more to become a better speaker. And then, because he was continuously winning and he came into the spotlight, and then it caught the attention of his principal, Sir Alexi Joseph, who actually called us one day into his office, and he told me that Aman's journey, his resilience, his achievements, the way he navigated the world had the power to deeply motivate other students. So it was he who encouraged me to actually pursue motivational speaking for Aman. And later he did something extraordinary. He invited, a 6-year old in grade one to be an, inspirational speaker at the graduation ceremony of the school's 12th grade, school's grade 12 students. He delivered his maiden speech for a full 10 minutes flawlessly. The response was overwhelming. After that, he went on to motivate the entire school through different sessions. He was again invited to be a motivational speaker at a career counseling event hosted by the Indian, school board in Oman. The word simply spread. Today, we receive, by the grace of God, we receive invitations from schools and events for him to come and speak. So you can say that, what started as a mother's quiet wish, has become something far bigger than, I ever imagined and ever dreamt.
Wonderful, wonderful. I just wanted to also ask you a follow-up question, which is that I've heard two of his speeches, and the content is pretty interesting and seems to be beyond his age. So,
Mhm.
how do you define, meaning between Aman and you, how do you decide what to say, and how do you go about building the speech?
But of course, right now he's small, so mainly it's on me writing the speeches for him. But he has his own inputs, and he actually asks me, "Come on, add this. I think I should say that." So he has his suggestions coming in.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment who needs guidance in living life with blindness, please share the Eyeway National Helpline number 8800 The number is 8800 00 4334.
I also understand, Aman, that you are a budding YouTuber. Is that correct?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I post videos on assistive technology and how I type on laptops and also many other things like AI, seeing AI, and Google Gemini, and many more.
Yeah, I would like to add here, and we have a little YouTube channel called Wonderboy underscore Aman, and an Instagram page called Wonderboy underscore Aman 2018. Here we share, bits and parts of his journey, and in a very inspirational way. And every time he wins an award or anything, any achievement, we make a little video, out of it with a very inspiring message. And so, yeah, his journey is being shared. We try to spread motivation, and apart from that, information on tech and AI.
Aman, again, another question to you. You said you also have content on AI, Google Gemini, and so on. Do you use AI, Google Gemini, and so on in your day-to-day work?
Yes, I do a lot. I use it to describe stuff to me, especially Gemini and Seeing AI. I use both of them to describe things to me and read books to me. And I also figured out this myself. I open live mode in Gemini, turn on screen sharing, go to a YouTube video, play it, and I ask it to describe the visuals to me. And it describes it perfectly.
Excellent. And you said you use Google Gemini also to read books, or is it Seeing AI you use to read books?
Actually, both of them. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. I have a phone of my own which I carry wherever I go. And I use TalkBack to navigate my phone. And I also have the Kindle app which I use to read books and download them and read them while I'm on the move, especially because I get bored.
Right. So another question, you said you read books on your phone, either using Seeing AI or Google Gemini. What are the kind of books you have been reading?
Like, I've read the full Harry Potter series, and one of the more recent ones is The Beast of Buckingham Palace. And I've read the whole Adventurers series, like The Adventurers and the Cursed Castle. I've read the first book of the Percy Jackson, and many more books.
So let me ask you this question. You've read so many books. How has reading actually helped you in your understanding?
Actually, it has helped me a lot in my vocabulary in English.
Okay. And
I've learned a lot of new words from the book.
right, that's interesting. I think a lot of young children need to learn this from you. Reading is very important because in today's world, I think children don't read. They prefer to watch videos. And I think, as you very rightly said, books actually improve your vocabulary and the way you speak. Your mother was telling me that you have been appointed as the prefect of your class. So, what does being a prefect mean?
Yeah, I was really happy about it. I told her, give my name for the prefect, fill the form. I will surely get selected. And I did. And then, you know how I mind the class?
Yeah.
And there is a boy prefect, me, and a girl prefect, Alisa. So Alisa mostly looks at the children and uh, tells them don't run around if they are running around or anything like that. So, and I entertain them by making them play some games, asking them some maths questions, riddles, and many more things.
Right. So you have a creative way of keeping people engaged.
Yes, I have.
Normally, when a child is blind, finds it difficult to make friends. Do you have friends in school?
Yeah, every time I enter the classroom, I hear the whole classroom almost saying, Hi, Aman, hi, Aman, hi, Aman. And every time I leave the classroom to go home, I can hear everyone saying, Bye, Aman, bye, Aman, bye, Aman. I'll turn into bye machine soon.
And do you play games with your friends, or games are a little too dangerous for you?
Yeah, I play games with them and I also talk to them. We play tag, ice and water, and many more games.
When it comes to running in the ground, he has many friends who wants to hold his hand and run along with him.
These are all very spontaneous responses from his classmates.
Yes, yes. Nobody actually asks them. They themselves come forward. In fact, they argue between themselves. Okay, last time you were, the one to run with the man. This time I'm going to do it. And they also want to sit next to him in the class. And so they themselves come over to him. It's just coming from their own heart. I mean, he's quite popular in the school.
As a 8-year-old student now, what are your aspirations when you grow up? What do you want to become?
I want to become an inspirer and an inventor.
Or you want to take up science?
Yes, and maths.
Science and maths. Wow. And Nosheen, as a mother, what is your aspirations for Amaan?
As of now, there's nothing. I just want him to do well. And so he keeps telling me, Mama, I'm going to take all the STEM subjects when I grow up, and I will do something great. So yeah, he just keeps coming up with different things. Mama, I want to become even, what else, Aman? I mean, you were saying you want to become a what was that? A confectioner. And then he keeps coming up with different things. He wants to invent different, gadgets. Like, Aman, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I want to invent a gadget that it's like the Alexa, but with the screen. It's most people already know it's called the Echo Show. That is there already,
Yeah.
but I want to create one where it can talk to you in sign language. When you click on a button, sign language mode will come on, and when you do some sign with your hand or whatever, then an image will pop up on the screen answering. And I also want to create a suit kind of like thing that you can that you can wear, and then there'll be a controller, and
Right.
then you can fly with that. And then you can with the controller, when you press the right button, you'll go right, and you can even control the speed. You can go up, you can go down, you can go left, you can go right, you can go back, you can float in midair, you can go forward, you can zoom and through a cloud.
Right. That's very interesting. And so there's a beginnings of a science fiction author also here. Do you like writing?
Yeah, I like writing. I'm writing my own book on my laptop.
Oh, wow. And what's the topic?
It's fantasy and adventure about a wizard.
Wow. So have you been influenced by Harry Potter here?
No, I'm not using already written stuff. I'm creating my own story.
Interesting. Interesting.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
I just wanted to ask you, Nosheen, when you decided to send Amaan to school, what was your dialogue with the school principal and administration like? What were the apprehensions they had, or were they open to giving him admission straight away? Can you just talk us through a little bit of that?
Of course, they were a little bit, apprehensive, and they were not very sure that, how would things actually turn out with Aman, and, how would they go ahead with everything. But then I explained to them he's already trained, with using his laptop, and he, can type, and, using the shortcut keys and screen reader and all of those things. But then it was actually new, information for them to process. And then they took some time, and eventually, because they were not sure how it would work out, they asked me to join him to school as a shadow parent. And then initially, actually, we were offered admission on a trial basis. They said, "Okay, so we'll just give him a trial and we'll see." But then very soon, within just a couple of months of being in school, everything changed, and they were so amazed with him, and they were actually learning new things. And the teachers were really curious to know, okay, how is he managing? How does the screen reader reads? And they would want to listen it and experience it. And they were totally amazed, and they just saw that he's already very well groomed. He already was well versed with spellings and numbers and everything.
Nosheen, Aman has been recognized at various levels. Would you like to share some of those recognitions that he's had?
Yes, sure. Well, to start off with, he, always participates in the school annual talent fest, and even when he was in grade one, he was the finalist in all five competitions he took part in, and he won in three of them. And then, there is this talent fest that happens, inter-school level every year, and there is this particular competition called Unique Talent Recognition. So he was the first place winner, among all 22 Indian schools for memorizing the first 100 digits of pi. And later, he went on to win the annual Indian School Quiz in the foundation category from his school. And apart from that, later he successfully recited 200 digits of pi at a school's, Fusion Fest. He's the winner of Robin H. Bright Spark Award, a prestigious national competition that celebrates young achievers from across India. He has been featured in the national awards for the empowerment of people with disabilities, wherein a video of him was played on screen, where he spoke about how he's, managing at school using assistive technology. A demo was, given, and this was to spread awareness. And apart from that, he has a record with India Book of Record for fastest typing blindfolded without using a screen reader. And he also has a record with the Influencer Book of World Records for being the youngest motivational speaker. And apart from that, he's a two-time special awardee of his school. And one of the awards recognized him as a memory maestro. And he has recited all 195 country names in alphabetical order in the school's annual day. And he's won, in many interclass competitions like in mental maths, GK, technology, spell bee. And he's also come first in the annual Science and Technology event. And he won the Science Technova in Me Award last year. And apart from that, he has been featured in Oman's leading newspaper called Muscat Daily and Oman Observer twice. And he has also appeared in TV news channels a couple of times.
And you said that you participated in quiz and you have done well in GK. Is there any particular topic that you're interested in, like sports or literature or science, that you follow on your own regularly?
I focus on science and maths particularly, but I'm mainly focused on everything.
What are the resources you use for accumulating your general knowledge?
I watch YouTube videos, I watch educational YouTube videos, quizzes, and educational videos. Earlier, I used to watch Learn Bright and Homeschool Pop and all of that.
Nosheen, is there anything that you'd like to say in conclusion?
What I can say is we have a long journey ahead, and I'm not just merely building academic skills. You can say that we are, I'm fostering his confidence and independence. And as a mother, what I can say is, that I challenged my fear and concern, for my son's future into a powerful drive to help him excel in whatever he pursues. And I'm working towards my dream of making him a role model, a voice, not only for the differently abled, but for all the students facing challenges. I wish for the world to learn about his, exceptional journey and discover what that limitations can spark innovation, and different paths lead to extraordinary places. And true excellence comes from embracing unique strengths. So, from an infant facing, vision loss to a 8-year-old champion, Aman has actually, rewritten expectations at every turn. And perhaps the greater transformation has occurred in everyone watching, learning that disability doesn't diminish potential and barriers are just meant to be broken.
Is there anything that you, as a motivational speaker, would like to share?
In life, challenges will definitely come, but don't be afraid to try a new path. Sometimes it's not about working harder the same old way. It's about thinking smarter and using the advanced tools the world has to offer.
Thank you very much, Aman, for taking the time. I know it's early in the morning at your place. Thank you, Nosheen, for also being present here and sharing your experience and your thoughts. And it's been truly enlightening, insightful, and I'm sure many would find it nurturing and nourishing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Eyeway,
ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां, रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.